Hey folks, welcome to the April 8th, 2025 SIG Windows community meeting. This is a recorded meeting which will be uploaded to YouTube's. Please adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct, which basically translates to be nice and kind to everyone. All right, let's kick the meeting off. Announcements today, talk freeze is today. Mark, do you know what the exact time for the talk freeze is?
Um, I had the schedule open. Where is it? No, this one doesn't have a time on the release, but everything else looks like it's usually around 7 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm guessing later this evening, Pacific time.
Yeah, hopefully everybody has got their docs PRs in at this point. I don't remember anything being outstanding or waiting on reviews or any such thing. So hopefully we're
There's
in
there's
good
two
shape.
for Windows that actually need to go in. One of
Oh,
I think that they just need LGTMs. I meant to take a look yesterday, but I got distracted, so I'm gonna do that right after the meeting.
okay.
Yeah, the DSR one went in this morning.
Okay. Yeah, okay. The host network removal one had another comment this morning from somebody from the docs team, so I'm gonna look at that right after this.
All right, sounds good. This is also the time we give a few minutes for any new contributors who have joined to say a few words about themselves. Completely optional, but we encourage you folks to do it. Anybody who would like to say hello? All right, no one today. Let's move on to the agenda. I will hand it over to Mark. No, not Mark, right? James, you put this up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so somebody from the community pinged me and said, hey, our CNIs in the testing was a little bit behind. And we use Calico. So in a separate PR, I think it's linked here, I went and upgraded all of the CNI for our Windows testing scripts to the latest Calico. When I did that, I used all of their operator and all their docs to set that all up. And so I came back into our Windows tools where I had kind of done all the prototyping for all that work. And I basically just removed all of that. Just wanted to give people a heads up and just point people at the right docs. What I did in this PR was I also just said, hey, the flannel stuff that's in here hasn't really had a maintainer in a very long time. And so I put a warning at the top, but then in the other link that I put in the agenda there, somebody was trying to use the flannel and it wasn't working. And I just basically responded like, hey, there hasn't been any active development. The flannel version's like really far behind. No idea if it's going to work. And so I don't know. I was thinking maybe we should just remove the flannel stuff since it's just nobody's maintained it, unless somebody wants to step up and take it over. Unfortunately, I won't have a lot of time to be able to invest in helping identify like what's going wrong with it. So it would really have to be a kind of run on your own scenario. Somebody really loves flannel and needs to have that support. So yeah, I guess proposing to just get rid of the stuff that's in the SIG Windows tools, and for folks who really care can either go to flannel directly or use the Calico upstream at this point. There was kind of an initial prototype to make sure HPC worked and demonstrate all these things, and we at least got Calico upstreamed. Yeah, any thoughts?
No, I second what you're saying, James. Flannel has generally been problematic. We've always, kind of switched to using Calico, even in the, even when we were trying to run SIG Windows inside the VMs, I think we would typically use Calico there too. So I have no issues. I don't know if someone on the call wants to stick on with using Flannel or other folks in the community, but like you said, we don't have a maintainer. I don't think we can take on the maintenance overhead at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say pretty much the same thing. I think that without a maintainer or somebody who's like actively using it and volunteering to help maintain this, I think we'll just do what you proposed.
All right, cool. I'll open the PR. Just drop that support today. I guess I've left the Calico PR, the first one there, the 383 open. I transitioned over the SIG Windows scripts and everything, so we're running the latest version with operator in all our end-to-end tests. I've left this open and not merged it since we. I have a PR open in Cluster API for Azure that uses the operator, but it required some changes to the Calico operator and a few other bug fixes to be able to support it in the scenario that Cluster API uses it for. And so but since Cluster API is actually using the CNI scripts from here, I didn't close this just because it was there. But I do have it working in Cluster API for Azure, and I've got all the changes required merged into Calico now. So I'm just waiting on a release for Calico so that I can merge the thing into Cluster API for Azure. So that's why I've left that open.
Okay.
So I guess you're saying, James, that before we can merge this, you need to get the Calico upstream, or Calico has to release a version before we can merge this, right?
Yeah, technically for Cluster API for Azure, because Cluster API for Azure is using the stuff that's in here.
I see.
Yeah,
so there's like an indirect dependency in some sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
sorry.
sounds good. Yeah, go ahead.
Is this try to fix the unstable CPG cluster?
Sorry, say that again.
Is this try to fix the? I remember we have issues with the CPG cluster, which sometimes the node is not stable.
Oh no, that's going to be a separate fix. We talked about it a little bit at the SIG Windows triage right before here.
Okay.
I've identified something's changed in the Azure platform that's causing the cloud-based init provisioner to flake, like some files not showing up occasionally. And so I've got a prototype which basically uses the cloud, the Azure provisioner, like out of the box provisioner, and then invokes cloud-based afterwards. So I'm still testing that to make sure that it is actually improved the stability, but so far it seems to be working.
Okay, great.
I will open up those PRs, and it'll be a image builder PR and a Windows testing script PR to then use that new image.
Okay.
And I think we're also adding some retry or like some detection and fixing for that too, if we can detect that the provisioning fails. But it's definitely looks like it's an issue with Azure provisioning on the Windows nodes sometimes for some reason.
All right. If there are no other topics, we can bring the meeting to a close, and I can give everybody back 15 minutes. All right, folks. Thanks for taking the time. I will see everybody on Slack.
Thanks
Thanks.
all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.